I think that in terms of Web 2.0, I mean, that's social lending, peer-to-peer lending, and personal finance are two key areas. The thing as well is that the context is, at least in the UK, is the following one, is that people don't really believe in banks anymore, or they're like, they think that banks are making a lot of money on their back.
Yeah.
So I think you can benefit probably from that, trend of perception from people.
Well, as you well know, we had a very interesting and bad set of news in August around the credit crunch, right? Subprime lending created a bit of a disaster here in the United States and, in fact, worldwide. And that really, I think, gave a number of lenders a black eye, because what it made it look like was that they were trying to take advantage of people who either didn't understand or really couldn't afford to pay off loans at higher rates. And it created a very bad situation where these people were basically stuck, unable to pay, and they began to lose their houses and so forth. So whether or not people trust the banks in the United States, I don't think the attitudes are exactly the same country by country. But I do know that the average person in the United States, if they who's got a good credit score, who stops and looks at some of the rates they're paying, is probably on more than one occasion saying to themselves, "Man, I'm getting ripped off."
Yeah. No, yes, indeed. I think that's the feeling of people. And do you say that this, in terms of segment or kind of people who are using it, is very specific? Are we still targeting probably talking about the 20 to 30 something, or do you see more and more like more wealthy people who want to invest and diversify their portfolio of
yeah, so it's
products?
actually been a pretty diverse mix. We've had people as young as 19 borrowing. We've had people as old as in their 90s taking part as well. So, I mean, that's about as broad as you can go. And as far as an exact demographic, I think it's more people who qualify than a demographic per se. We're looking broadly at everyone, but there are only going to be so many people who actually qualify for our service, because we do use an underwriting approach that requires a minimum FICO score and maximum debt-to-income ratio. So, and that's to give lenders a safe place to lend their money.
Okay. You're targeting the U.S. What about the international growth, or how do you envision that?
Yeah. Since the day we have opened our door, we have been getting emails from people around the world saying, when are you coming here? Can I license your technology? Would you like to partner, etc., etc.? The interest has been very strong. Canada, the UK, the Middle East, Africa.
France?
We've had one or two. As a matter of fact. And I mean, it really has been pretty dramatic. Eventually, yes. But this is not one of these things that you can just sort of put up a website and say, we're open. It's a very regulated industry, and those regulations vary from country to country, state to state, or whatever the pieces are within the countries.
I think like in countries such as France, for instance, the barriers are there. I think you need to have a banking license to do that. Anyway, there's a couple of very strong barriers, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, some countries may have very loose regulations, but they may not be the best market to go into. And so it's, over time, we'll have to figure that out. The good news is that the U.S. market is huge. It's a $2.4 trillion opportunity when you look at debt in this country, excluding mortgages. And LendingClub, along with the other P2P lenders in the space, we have a ton of room to grow before we need to look elsewhere.